Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Sam, again, and today I want to do a video discussing a topic that was brought up by ReviewTechUSA last week. I meant to do this last week, but I just never got around really to do it. And that was on, do you ever get too depressed or anxious to play video games? Now, I thought this was actually a pretty interesting, subject matter to talk about, as I work during the summer most at my job, and then during the fall season and winter through spring, I go to school. And I wanted to talk about this as someone who watches a lot of movies and plays a lot of video games. I thought this was interesting to bring up, and I'm going to give you a little story on when I started off college. So back in 2017, I graduated from high school and in the fall semester I started going to school in the fall semester. And that was a pretty different time for me. It was very, very unusual for me. I didn't really know what was going on. I struggled a lot in my first year of college, I'm not even going to lie. And one of the things, and I was also depressed, and one of the things I tried to do was I tried to watch movies, which I could watch movies, and play video games, which I could do. But often when I was either watching a movie or playing a video game, when I just wanted to relax from school, I always had a nagging feeling in the back of my mind telling me I need to focus on something else. Like, even days where I would need to just do that, I would just wanted to try to do that. I couldn't. Like, there was always a feeling in the back of my head. And the first semester of college went well. Despite that, I still felt pretty anxious when the semester was over. And I remember when I went back in 2018 for the spring semester of 2018. This was from January to beginning of May, end of April. I ended up, and I'm not proud of this, I ended up failing all my classes in one semester. And if this makes sense, I think I burned myself out from the semester before. But I think what happened was I was both anxious and just unmotivated. Like, I would play video games and watch movies for that, but even then it was much, much worse, and that was my own fault. So what I did was, the thing was, after I failed a whole semester and failed all my classes, I had to retake those classes. And so that summer, I ended up taking some time for myself, I did the things I normally do during summer: work, watch movies, hang out with friends, or play video games. And it was better during the summer. It tends to be better during the summer, but at times it feels like during the summer I get comfortable during that, but then I find myself to be trying to balance that out because I travel a bit, like out of state from time to time. Last summer I couldn't really do that because you get the point. But I remember starting up in the fall semester, and there was this, in the fall semester 2018, I remember there was this math class. It was pre-algebra. I'm absolutely terrible at math. I've always struggled with it in the past. And I remember just taking that math class and wanting to pass it, trying to completely finish up that semester. And I think, honestly, I had a lot of people worrying about me with how much work I was doing with that class. I was honestly determined to pass it, and I would not let anything stop me. And I still remember, like, around that in the fall season, there were multiple games releasing, and there was Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider, Smash Bros, and it was just a crazy. End of 2018 was crazy for video games, but I remember just at times, like when I got Spider-Man, I was feeling pretty relaxed, but whenever I would try to just watch movies or something, I remember the first three tests for my math class was pre-algebra. Chapters 1 and 2 and 3 I did the chapter 1 and 2 test, which was just one whole test, I passed on because I had taken it twice before and I actually got everything right. And the Chapter 2 tests I did much better. 3 tests I did much better on. Chapter 4, though, was that test that I felt really, honestly, probably the most worried about, because I had there were 2 sections to it. The first section, I remember the semester before, I passed it, but then I fell behind after that and failed the test moving forward. But I remember there were days where I don't think I would have. I don't think I took breaks between like taking quizzes and taking notes. I remember going to see. I think it was after the chapter. I think it was 4.5 through 4.7 tests. It was for chapter 4. That test, I think, was like honestly, like the most anxious I ever felt when I was done. When I was done. Like, I was so worried I failed that test. And I went to go see a movie that night, and I just felt I enjoyed the movie, but I still had that nagging feeling in the back of my mind about that. And even the girl I was with at the time, she was pretty worried about me, and like I was working so much. Even my teachers were like, hey, maybe you should go take a break, get something to eat. You know, you've been in here for a few hours. Because I remember after that Chapter 4 test, it only got worse. The Chapter 5 test, I think I took over 200 notes of doing this different problems, making sure it was in my head. That is how anxious I was about that class. And eventually I did pass that class. Like, I passed it, and that when the semester was over, I passed, and it was a pretty big moment for myself. I felt like a burden was taken off my shoulders. So the next semester comes. This is the spring 2019 semester. It goes from January to end of May, like the semester before. This time I'm taking contemporary math, and I remember the first test I failed, and my teacher even said, you know, instead of going to the math center right after you take a test to get ready for the next one, he told me he wanted me to go home and just relax and do the things I want to do. And that actually did help, you know. And it helped me and it did really help me. You know, for a while it did. And honestly, I think that was probably a great decision for him to tell me that, because he knew I wanted to pass this math class, and that meant a lot to me. And then that was a pretty big thing for me, and I did pass that class. And then I remember around I think it was spring semester of 2020. 2020 was a nightmare of a year. Then I'm going to tell you something. The spring semester, I think, of 2020 was honestly one of the most anxious I ever felt, because I was going to a completely new campus. The campus was, well, it still is, an hour and 28 minutes from where I live, and I would drive there every Tuesday and Thursday. And I would be pretty anxious to go down there from time to time. And I would get down there, I'd go to my class. It was every Tuesday and Thursday. And, one sec. Sorry. Get dry mouth. But I remember every Tuesday and Thursday I would drive down there. And those classes were, when I started going there, things were going really well. I had a schedule I went by, and I really liked it, how it was going. And then the pandemic happened. And I remember when the pandemic started, I felt way more anxious because every time I tried to sit down and play a video game, I was doing fine. I was passing both the classes, but every time I tried to sit down and try to relax or watch a movie, I'd always have that nagging feeling like I was talking about earlier in the back of my mind, telling me, hey, you got this coming up, you got this coming up. It was genuinely stressful. And I wanted to but I also had the pandemic on my mind. I had just lost my first job because of the pandemic. it was it was pretty damn stressful. And I just think that honestly, I would enjoy playing a video game, but often I would just get so worked up with school, I just wouldn't want to do it. And then I remember the fall semester, it got better, but it still wasn't the best. And I remember with my photography class I took, and I passed it. I struggled at the beginning. I didn't do very well, but I did eventually pass. So what I'm getting at is sometimes, and the answer to the Review Tech USA's question is, yeah, at times I do get worked up. I'm dang anxious about other things, but I remember towards the end of the semester, this is probably the best I felt, and I was really worried about my digital newsroom class and my, photography class, not photography, my intro to film class, that I wasn't going to pass them because I had some trouble on the first few assignments. I remember just taking my time with some projects. I finished them, I got them in on time, but I just think that it helped. Like, I remember at the end of the semester, my teachers said, hey, your projects are due, your final projects for the semester. I remember my final project for Intro to Film, the movie trailer that's on this channel. It's the Manos School Project trailer I made. It's on the channel. I remember finishing that. Like he said, it's going to be due May 15th. And I got it done that week, and I turned it in, and I got an A on it. And the last week of school was honestly, the last week of the semester, that was the best I felt throughout the best I felt, honestly. It was, I would sit down. I still had the thought of like in the back of my mind saying, hey, you might have some more stuff to do, but I didn't, which was a good thing. But what I'm getting at here is, yeah, it can happen sometimes. Not to the point where I'm like having full-on anxiety attacks or anything, but sometimes it's hard. This makes sense to focus on, the things you love, like the things you enjoy the most. Like for me, movies, video games, and I'd say photography are things I really enjoy. And just sometimes you've got to focus on, it can be hard to do the things you do when you've got so much on your mind. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit off topic from the usual I talk about, but I thought it was an interesting video, and thought. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye. And would you guys like to see, I guess, more thoughts like this a little bit? So let me know in the comments. I'll talk to you guys next time, and goodbye.